million witnesses of Jehovah throughout the entire earth. What that means is there's far more than that. There's millions upon millions of people who are related to at least one of Jehovah's Witnesses. There's spouses, parents, children, cousins, uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, grandparents, grandchildren, and yes, in-laws are relatives too. And we are the most likely to be in the best position to help these ones come to know Jehovah. That was the case in Bible times. We know that when Andrew first heard that Jesus was the Messiah, who was the first person that he told? It was his brother Peter, wasn't it? And then there was the case in Acts, Cornelius. He gathered his family together so that they could all learn about Jesus. Yes, as was the case then, it's the same now. We are in the best position to help our unbelieving family members come to know Jehovah. So, how can we do this in the most effective way? Of course, the first thing we do is we have to take the initiative. We have to take that first step. So we're going to consider two main points that will help us to be effective when we take that first step. First one is we want to be patient. Secondly, or the first one is we need to be refreshing. And then the second is we need to be patient. So that first point, be refreshing. What is meant by that? Look at the words of Deuteronomy 32:2. That these words help us to visualize the instruction, the kind of instruction that is refreshing. Deuteronomy 32:2 reads, "My instruction will fall as the rain. My words will trickle as the dew, as gentle rains upon grass, and as copious showers upon vegetation." That verse really brings up a nice picture in our mind of instruction that is refreshing, doesn't it? Trickling dew, gentle rains. That's the kind of precipitation that soaks into the roots and really does the plant a lot of good. For many of us, or for many when they first learn the truth, they prefer the fire hose method, right? They just give it to their relatives. They let it all out. They're so excited, surely their relatives are going to be just as excited. But that really doesn't work that well, does it? Rather than drown our family members with words, it is much more effective to release the truth in measured amounts. In many areas, especially in arid regions, drip irrigation is very common. That method is very effective because these drips of water go right to the roots, and it's just the right amount. And similarly, when witnessing to our relatives, we want to give them just enough that leaves them wanting more. So in order to be refreshing, we need to show respect for their right to their own beliefs. We need to listen to them without interrupting them. And when they express their viewpoints, we certainly don't want to become upset or provoked if we don't agree with them. Yes, just a few well-placed drops right on the roof, right on their hearts, can have a great effect, can't it? Now, the second point, be patient. James 5:7 has a nice illustration of a farmer and his patience. Let's see what we can learn from that illustration. James 5:7. There it says, "Be patient then, brothers, until the presence of the Lord. Look, the farmer keeps waiting for the precious fruit of the earth, exercising patience over it until the early rain and the late rain arrive." That's a good illustration, isn't it? The process of growth takes time. From the time a seed is planted until it is a mature plant, time is required. And the same is true with spiritual growth. It occurs gradually and in steps. So be patient. Don't give up on your relatives if they're not responsive initially. Even those who are strongly opposed can change. And the perfect example of that is the Apostle Paul. He was a fierce persecutor of Christians, but he became one of the most zealous preachers of the good news that ever lived. We're going to take a couple of minutes now and visit with Brother Gabriel Brosnan from the East Congregation in Tarija. He was helped to take an interest in the truth by none other than his mother-in-law. Brother Brosnan, what was your opinion of Jehovah's Witnesses before?
Well, when I first heard about the witnesses, I thought they were like a sect, like the Mormons. I thought they were following name, not God.
So what was it your mother-in-law did or said that caused you to take an interest in her beliefs?
Well, she will come and visit us in the summer vacation, and she will ask a family member to take her to the meetings. My wife at that time was an active sister, so she will give me specific instructions to take my mother-in-law into the meeting, drop her off, and come back. A couple times she will ask me to come in, and I refused. At one time I decided to go in, and it was nice to see how the brothers and sisters welcomed me. But the thing that impressed me the most was that everybody in the audience had a Bible, and they were learning from the Bible, so they were learning from God.
Very good. So what happened next?
Well, I decided to take the knowledge that she had. So I started studying the Bible. So I started with the first publication, what the Bible really teaches. And now from that point, our conversations going back to the house were more peaceful, because I always was more closer about her beliefs before, but now we were thinking the same thing. So they were more pleasant going back home.
So would you say that your mother-in-law was pushy?
Not at all. She was so loyal to Jehovah. She served to Jehovah for 20 years as a pioneer, and she never pushed it through into me.
Very good. So could you tell us what the results of her patience was?
Well, today my wife is active sister, my daughter too, and I'm a ministerial servant, and we all serve to Jehovah today.
Thank you, brother. Did you notice that Gabriel's mother-in-law didn't try to force the truth on him? Instead, she was patient, she was loyal, and you can see the end result of her patience and loyalty. Yes, we need to remember that unbelieving mates, former Bible students, inactive ones, and family members are all people who are known to us, and we are known to them. So our diligent efforts to help them to become worshipers of Jehovah will demonstrate our love for them, and more importantly, it will demonstrate our loyalty